Boom!
Hello.
Hello, welcome officially to Secrets of Sarmanath Session 27. I apologize that I left my mic on, apparently, so you got some free banter out of it. Seems good. How are y'all doing? Let's tell the chat what's up with you for the last week or so. You'll notice, actually, first, that we are missing a Rose. Faye could not join us. She's having internet troubles due to some kind of storm in Germany, so curse those weather gods. But we do have otherwise full cast. How are y'all doing?
I'm good. How about you guys?
I'm in hell.
I commiserate with that. I too feel as if I am in hell after my work week.
Yeah.
Shall we tell them about the science building, or?
I miss this.
No, I'm worried somebody will like
Take
not
it
take
the wrong
the
way.
joke and like
Yeah.
call emergency services. Anything? Oh, I'm getting back into the swing of like running though. Now that I'm situated back
Nice.
at college, so I'm gonna be running a Hackmaster game tonight. So that's gonna be fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
I want to play in a Hackmaster game. I think Hackmaster seems like a good time.
It frustrates me as a system.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very crunchy, right? So if you want a game that you can like play quickly, not that. But if you like digging into rules and mechanics and stuff, Hackmaster is pretty good for that. But my group is not necessarily that kind of group, so I'm bearing most of that weight, and it's very frustrating.
Sounds exhausting, is what
Yeah.
that sounds like. Yeah, for sure. Alrighty. Well, Dan, what have you been up to for the last week? How you been?
I've been pretty good.
Yeah.
Staying up late to watch the FIBA World Cup.
Yeah.
At least the first couple of games, because I'm not staying until 5:30. College football and pro football has started. Basketball is coming up in another month. Life is good. It's the
It is
best
a
time of
good
year.
time to be a sports fan. You got high stakes basketball, you got the start of college football, the start of the NFL. Baseball technically exists if you need to waste a few hours. Like, it's good. It's a good time. All right.
Yeah, pretty much that's it.
Mike, how goeth the baby?
He
He's
muted himself.
He muted himself. He's gone. Mike!
he
Mike!
left us a message.
I'm unmuted. All right.
Okay, there we go.
Baby's doing good. I think he's asleep at this point. Let me see if I can. I assume the selfie camera on my phone will activate. Allow Zoom to take pictures. Hey, look. So here's the baby.
Oh,
He's
nice.
sleeping in the baby carrier. There's a hot pan that I'm getting ready to throw some eggs into. Making breakfast.
Nice.
I don't know if I've ever
Classic.
seen you without a hat before.
I usually either have my hair styled or I'm wearing a hat, but I'm not physically ready to be on camera yet. But
in bad mode.
So we forced you to be on camera. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird looking at it. I've never seen Michael like that.
Alrighty. I think is that everybody? Millman, did we talk to
I
you?
didn't even get a word.
I'm sorry, dude. Give us a word.
Sean was like,
That's your
"Oh,
word,
I'm
okay.
You definitely got a word in. Don't lie to me. You originally said I'm doing great. How are you guys?
I was trying to help move it along, okay? Because you just sit there like, oh fuck.
No,
I heard Sean say run, and I was like, oh, I can talk about this because like it's been hot here, and I was like, fuck, like it's too hot. I need to stop streaming for once and just get out of my room because it's fucking hot. I thought I'd jump in the pool because it's spring. It should be warm, right? And the water will be nice. Fuck no. Worst mistake of my life. I went from the 90s, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I dived into a freezing cold water pool.
Honestly, that sounds great.
The water
That seems like a
hasn't
good
warmed
time.
up at all. I'm talking like really cold. I got in and I was like 3 seconds. I'm out. I got all this preparation of getting outside, hyping myself up for going for a swim. I'm lazy, all right. It takes me a lot of effort to leave my. And like I dived in the pool. I was like, nope, I'm out. And
You
that was
didn't even
it.
test it first?
Well, that's the thing. In Australia, if you test the water, you're going to fuck around about getting in the pool. Where if you just jump in, you're in, right? You're either swimming now or not. Where if you took your toes in your water, like, it feels cold, but that's just...
Well, I do it just so I know what I'm getting into, right? Because I'm worried I'll like shock myself if I jump into a pool that does not
That's what you
feel.
want. That's what you
That's-
want. So you
it's half
feel
the fun.
alive for a second. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the essential difference between Sean, an engineer, and Millman, an entertainer.
Exactly. You go in. Other than that, I've been like working and tossing up on what game I want to play lately. So I was like, we'll continue playing League of Legends, but I'll talk with chat about what I should be playing next. And I ended up last night, by the end of it, I bought Minecraft. I'm waiting for Mike to be like, he did it. Because I was like, I don't really want to pay them to play their game again, because I already bought it, and now they're waiting my account back. But I guess I'm on that Minecraft hype.
I'm on that same spot.
I actually am too.
And I just purchased it recently.
I've never played Minecraft. I mean, I've seen people play. I know what it is, but it just doesn't. I know it won't appeal to me.
Yeah, if you don't like building, it's probably. I don't give a shit about all of the adventure stuff they've added into that game. I don't care at all.
I saw they were like, you have a food bar and a life bar. I was like, I understand the life bar thing. Like, I'm all about that.
Oh, I hate the food bar.
But now I have to feed him too?
Yeah.
Like, come on! I'm here to build big dicks in the sky. I'm not here to fucking make a farm.
Yeah, I still maintain that the food bar was like one of the worst additions to that game. It's just such a pain. I miss the days when you just ate food to heal.
So yeah, I've already found like the thing that I'm already doing 1,000,000 times, so I don't have to worry about food. Is like I'm cutting down every tree in this forest, right? Like I'm lumberjacking the fuck out of the area.
The good old Isengard approach.
Exactly right. Burn the land.
Good reference.
We're Gucci. And then when you cut trees down and there's no trunk, the leaves just slowly disappear magically because they don't fall down with the tree.
Yeah.
And they drop apples. So I've got 1,000,000 fucking apples. My guy's now just living off apples.
Hot Minecraft tips from Millman today on stream. If you chop trees down, their leaves disappear. Did you know this? And you can eat the apples when they fall.
I have some bad news for you though. There's like food replenishment, but then also food saturation. And saturation is how long you'll have to go before you need to eat again, essentially. And apples don't have great saturation values. They don't tell you that, but they don't. Apparently, you need to eat meat if you want to like not have to eat food all the fucking time.
I'm in the forest cutting down every tree, so now it's a valley.
The pro move is definitely fish.
There's plenty of other things to eat in the area. I'm just too lazy to hunt them.
Millman, I'm gonna give you a tip now. Baked potatoes.
Oh, I love potato. I'm gonna be a Slav potato farmer.
Yeah. In Minecraft, you can farm quite a few potatoes in a relatively short period of time, and if you cook them in a furnace to bake them, they give you 250 points, and they keep you full for a decent period of time. Not a long time, but a decent period of time. It's a lot better. They're a lot better than apples.
Yeah. If you're willing to take the time, you could set up like a farm of animals. It takes like 10 minutes, and then you can just like make them breed and then kill them and get all the meat. That's what I do.
I mean,
basically
when
just
you
make a
love them,
mega
they
farm.
taste better. So that's the greatest idea I've ever heard. And there's a bunch of chickens just loitering around outside
Yeah.
my...
I always just like make a big mega farm, get a ton of animals in there, then just slaughter them all and take like many stacks of food.
Hearing that out of your mouth, I kind of expect that out of you now. Right? Like, in general, you're just like, this is the most efficient way to murder and consume or get what I need from it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going with you to anywhere where it's like a frozen chance that we'll get stuck somewhere or on any plane, because if we crash on an island, you're just going to farm the people we're on the island with. And
Okay,
I mean, you just gotta make yourself.
There's a bit of a jump between I'm gonna farm the pigs
I'm gonna
to like
farm
I'm
the
gonna
animals
kill
too. I'm gonna
all
farm
the
the
survivors.
I can see him doing this, though. He's the guy that's like, I'm going to survive. You guys are edible.
I mean, I did play the cannibal on Frozen Frontier.
That is true. He lets his inner Ferris out.
You win the cannibal pretty quick, yeah.
Alrighty, so I think that's
he didn't
enough.
eat elves though, right?
No, he would eat
He ate
anything.
the elves. He ate
never
he ate
mind.
everybody, man.
I didn't think you ate elves. I thought you just ate.
Ferris is an indiscriminate eater. This is
Yeah.
beside the point. I think we've had enough hot Minecraft talk for a lifetime, as far as I'm concerned.
Wait, you don't want to know the details of how to get efficient food farms going?
No,
in
I really don't.
Because the right choice is definitely automatic fishing.
All right, everything under the sea turns into blocks around you. So, let's play some D&D, yeah?
Hell yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
Speaking of automatic fishing, let's return to our undersea adventure.
Yep. Speaking of voxel-based games, let's go to the.
I have a feeling we're gonna be in
Square-based
trouble
game.
if to remember any names because I feel like Faye was a go-to for names.
the four of you are screwed then.
This is where we find out that Faye was like the glue that held the party together.
I remember there was that one guy who I decided spelled his name really funny based off of I think it was Ollie, but it was all like A's, H's, and U's.
Oh yeah, Ollie.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's all I remember.
So-
There's a princess. I think I'll just call her Princess.
I remember people by their faces, and this game has no faces, so I'm fucked.
All of
right?
the faces look like me.
Exactly.
So,
I'll just look at you and be like, "All right, Greg, which voice are you putting on? I remember voices.
all
He
right.
sounds like the evil voice now. Let's kill him."
All right, so last time, the three of you plus Rose took some rest after your crazy adventures with the pirate, and after touching the stone, he became so gibberishly insane you had to leave him behind. But lo and behold, you found an old friend in the nearby cave. It was Goric, the Aasimar/Dwarven cleric that you had left you behind in the great city of Balesport to go under some kind of vision quest for his god. But now he had returned after his months away. After debating for some time about what to do next and doing some introductions, you entered the sunken city of Raekwon, where you quickly found it to be a sunken ruin on the west side, but moving up to the north towards the glowing architecture of the new inhabitants. You were quickly besieged by a Merrill patrol that proved to be much more difficult in combat than I think you were expecting. A pitched battle ensued involving a globe of silence and a quite epic display of turtling by Jagar against the Merrill patrol. But a pitched battle ensued, leaving you low on resources, health, and food, and an enraged city beginning to search for the clamor of battle. You took some time to hide inside a municipal building of the district and wait for the heat to cool off in the ocean. Eventually, you found a small pocket of air in one of the crumbling buildings, took a small rest, and interrogated a prisoner that the Merrill patrol had been escorting somewhere. He gave you some small details of the outline of the city, including pointing you towards a university district that held a bunch of knowledge. He let you know that the inner districts of the city are where the Merrill are keeping the Tritons mostly prisoner. But you decided to inform him of the princess that you had met on the way here a couple sessions ago, and asked him to return to her to be the bodyguard. After casting invisibility on him so he could slip past any Merrill patrols, you let him go, and he went off to see to the princess. Having decided that the heat was too much on you from the many Merrill patrols, you exited the city and swam around it in the coral reef nearby to the outside, attempting to get to the university district from kind of the outside of the city. Along the way, you found a gigantic clam with an even larger pearl wedged in its mouth. After some discussion with the clam, it turned out it was lonely, having not been able to speak with anyone for some time on the ocean floor, and a comedic battle ensued, attempting to make it laugh with the daddiest dad jokes that you could find. Eventually, Sambar the Mace won out. He is the one true dad joke, causing the great clam to laugh uproariously and dislodging the 15-pound pearl from its from its jaw. You guys scooped it up and are carrying it with you, tied to Hugh Seafeather's waist with a bit of rope and a blanket, and made your way to the outside of the university. After some discussion of how you were to get into the university district from the outside, a sewer grate was willed into existence by persistent investigation rolls, to which you found a rusted away section of it that, after clearing with the mace, drew the ire of a great hammerhead shark, which attacked. After dealing with the shark, you made your way inside the university district undetected by the Merrill. and are beginning to make your way up to the large university building. Along the way, two of you, I believe it was Goric and Rose, noticed that there was a large inscription of an arcane nature freshly placed upon the outside of the crumbling university wall. It seems to be Merrill and Make, and some kind of arcane ward placed upon the stone of the university. The five of you now are making your way up to the great university. You see marble steps leading up to the entrance of the building. It's flanked by beautifully carved columns, now holding up what is left of a crumbling and collapsed roof. The ceiling itself hangs low and seems to have been broken under the weight of the many years, seemingly denying access to the second and third stories of the building. Though it does not permit any open air in. It's kind of collapsed and crushed in and of itself. And the five of you see two large swinging doors up at the top of the marble steps, kind of beckoning to you as you approach.
Does somebody else want to take point? I'm a bit injured myself. I probably shouldn't be holding the front line down at the moment.
That's okay. Give me a moment. Is there any other windows to this building, or is it just the doorway?
You begin searching around for some windows, and you see what you believe may have been windows up on what used to be the second and third floors of the building. But you see that the crumbling roof is kind of collapsed down into them. They've essentially been rendered moot at this point by the degradation of the building.
Have we investigated the arcane ruins already?
You noticed them on your way in to the university at the end of last session.
Okay. But they're written in, you said, in Merrill.
Yes, written is a bit much.
Carved.
They're more like a large ward carved onto the stone of the side of the building and the ceiling, the crumbling roof of it.
I wonder if it means...
Can you find out what it means?
Well, I'd like to investigate it, but I'm not
sure. How would you go about investigating the runes that you see on the side of the university?
Well, I can't read it, so I probably wouldn't be able to do much.
Could you use detect magic and see what school of magic it is? Wait, can I do that with my eyepiece?
I don't know what your IP starts.
I'm sorry, I was messing with the cameras there.
Yes.
That Mike joined in. What was the question?
Can I use my eyepiece to identify what school of magic it is, or if it's magic at all?
You absolutely can. You get close to the side of the university building, walking up the marble steps. Take out your eyepiece and begin observing the runes upon the side of the university, and you see that it is a school of magic. It is magic. It defaints an aura of I believe it is medium. I have to check my notes. I don't have this memorized. It is a aura of medium, we'll say strength magic, and you get a school of abjuration from the wards.
This
All right.
doesn't really change kind of my original thought, is that the ward could either be protecting the university from things from the outside, or possibly protecting the books on the inside from further damage. Both of those would be abjuration magic. Without being able to read the writing, we don't know which one it could be.
So it's not just make a big fucking noise when we pass through the doorway?
It could be as well.
Okay.
There are many types of abjuration magic.
I'm not
the
very
schools
learned.
of D&D magic are strange and overlap and don't really fit into any one category.
Well, the question is, can you keep up on hiding when we set the thing off, or are we gonna have to find another way in? I
It's gotta
could
be
climb
safe.
up and see if there's a way into the building through the collapsed roof. Well, I don't need to climb, I could just swim, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might be better to try to enter through.
If we can get around the doors, that would be best.
you want to wait here, or do you want to come with?
I'll come with. Janlar can do however he pleases, and I put the hood on my cloak up, which makes me blend into the environment.
All right, excellent. Jagar, you just kind of fade into the surrounding marble of the university. Hugh, you begin swimming up to the top of the roof. You notice that it is heavily collapsed, as if it had been hit by something before it fell under the water. It seems as if they're almost like a crushing blow was taken to the top of this roof. You see, as you swim up and are examining it more closely, you see where pieces of the wall have been crushed and broken, squished out. The third floor is almost entirely destroyed, and the second you find almost inaccessible. But go ahead and give me an investigation check, investigation intelligence, as you swim up around this roof, seeking a way inside.
I am good at the investigations.
You definitely are. Eventually, you do find a portion of the roof that has eroded away from the many years under the sea, enough that you can wriggle your body in. Upon doing so, you find yourself in a dark and cramped area of the second floor of this university building. There are kind of battered and broken shelves leaning haphazardly, as if they had undergone like an earthquake, right, and been tipped and set aside. Waterlogged books, long destroyed by the water of the ocean, kind of inhabit the shelves and float along in the until recently undisturbed waters of the second floor here. There's not much in the way of paths in the upper floor here, but after a quick look around, you see that there is a staircase leading back down into the main floor from where you swam in.
Cool. Well, I'll take point. Give me a bit of distance so you don't, trip over something.
I think Janlar and Gork are still waiting at kind of the entrance of the university. So you want to come back and grab us real quick?
Before you squeeze through, do you want to just pop your head over and
Yeah, I'll go. Or I don't have to because we have the Perry app, so I'll just send a communication,
Sure.
a mental communication over.
I don't know how far it goes, and I don't want to find out.
Yeah.
Jagar affirms through the Perry app.
Yeah. All right.
And the rest of you make your way up through, wriggling into the second story. It becomes cramped fairly quickly as the room up here in the second floor is mostly crushed in by the roofs. As you make your way down to the library, you see that the majority of it is largely intact once you get down to the bottom floor. There are rows and rows and columns of ornately made shelving. Some of it built into the walls out of marble itself. Some of it seems to be some kind of wood, though on first inspection you don't recognize the type it is carved from. There are waterlogged books everywhere, both floating in the ocean waters around you and also lined in these many shelves. There are large desks with what appear to be a small silver chain linked into the side of them, although whatever was on the chain has long since been missing. And there are small vials of ink, both floating around in the ocean and sitting on the desks themselves. As you look around, towards the back end of the room, away from the stairs, you see a... Excuse me. You see a great seal with a picture of an open book with text and a tipped scale set in the page. The seal is along the back wall of the university, away from you. It seems to be made out of some kind of stone, though it differs from the marble that you saw on the outside.
Okay.
I'm unmuted and everything, right?
Yes,
Yes.
you are. We can hear you.
Cool. I'm on video. I'm on audio.
You are 100% back in it.
Yep.
You're good.
38 minutes later.
How was breakfast?
I don't know yet. It's It's right here.
Okay.
Legend. Janla, are you familiar with schools?
You mean schools of magic or like schools?
Education in general.
Education.
We're in a library.
Rose goes, well, he's a professor, so I think he probably is.
I'm aware of the. I'm aware of how education works. Yes.
Well, do they trap their books?
No. This looks. I'm not
My
sure.
little book of etiquette says that's not a very polite thing to do.
Well,
Any
that's very-
books that they still have underneath the water are, I'm sure, to be very powerful and probably need to be protected.
Exactly. That's why I'm concerned. I don't want to bump a bookshelf and then explode.
Well, fortunately, explosions don't carry very well underwater, so they probably won't explode you.
But
They might electrocute you.
I was gonna say, ring my bell though, and I'm like, I don't want bleeding ears when we get out of the water.
Edgar, are you familiar with how concussive force works underwater?
Yes. Clearly,
My
I just said
ancestors
it.
built devices called sea mines. They were very effective underwater.
I've never heard of such technology.
They were used during the Great Wars. They've fallen out of practice now.
World shattering. Anywho, the ink vials, are they
Yes.
still intact, floating around?
Some of them are, yes. They're in various states of disrepair. All of them have kind of like a small thin film of algae growing on the outside of them as
That
you
does
now approach them. But the vials, you can find a number of vials themselves that are intact with a like a rubber stopper on the top of it.
Beautiful. How many can I collect?
Go ahead and roll me 2d10.
2d10? Oh
Yep.
shit! I could possibly get a lot.
13. Yeah, you get 13 old vials of ink from the Raekwon University.
They're carried in like an egg carton, though, so you can only carry 12 conveniently. The other one just has to kind of float around.
The other one's just in my pocket, floating around.
Greg, does it look like it's been recently disturbed in here? Like
No. In
Miracle
fact,
and awesome.
you get the distinct feeling, almost supernaturally, that you are the first 5 to set foot in here in some time.
Yeah, over the party then. Looks like the Meryl don't come down here often.
I wonder
That's
why.
handy.
Probably
I'm gonna
these
hit-
books have been ruined. There's probably not much here.
Maybe they can't enter this building.
It's possible, but the magic on the outside appeared to be of their own make.
Yeah, because it's a ward to let you know not to go through the door.
It's possible. I guess I'll take the time to start casting the tech magic as a ritual.
While
Okay.
he's doing that, I'm gonna check the door into this place and head that direction.
Okay, you head to
I'm
the
gonna go-
opposite.
Oh, I was gonna go look at the seal that you were describing
Okay,
earlier.
you split up in opposite directions.
Yeah.
Jagar making his way to the back of the university towards the Great Stone Seal, while Hugh, you go to the front door. Tell me, what are you looking for as you approach the front door? You say you go to investigate it. What are you doing?
I'm making sure, like, obviously is the door open and is it unlocked? Is there gonna be
Okay.
noises on the other side?
Well, the
Right,
door
like-
surprisingly remains closed as it was when you saw it from the other side. However, you do notice that there does not seem to be a locking mechanism on the door. They are, great marble doors that no longer beckon you in. They are keeping their closed to the world outside.
Cool. Well, I'll wait here.
Okay. You post up next to the door.
Yeah, I'm just leaning against the door, floating like halfway up it, and I'm just like, okay,
Jagar, you approach the stone seal in the back of the university. It is a great stone seal, about the size of a man in circumference. And you see an open book. There's text written on it, and a tipped scale on the other side. As you approach, you notice two things. One, there is a light script that glows ever so faintly against the stone latticework of the rest of the script. It is about 2 lines of letters of a language that I don't believe you speak. What are the languages that you understand reading and writing?
Oh, me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry. Common and Dwarven.
Common and Dwarven. Yes, so this is an unknown script. 2 of these lines kind of glow a little bit and are clearly set apart from the rest of the writing on this page. The other thing you notice, that inside the tipped scales, you see a small insertion about the size and shape that you think of the key that you actually did not receive because you were not with the party when they spoke with the collector. But it looks to be very similar to this thing that the other party members have been carrying.
So it's like a
around.
slot?
Yes.
Okay. I'll probably relay back that there's some kind of slot in the wall that something could be fitted into.
You just hear from the other side of the other side of the library. A what? Why would you call it a... Oh, you mean slot. Alright, I'm coming.
You don't have to shout. There's no sound. This is just mental communication.
No, I'm mentally yelling.
I,
I'm not used to this wine talking, okay?
yeah, I'll come over as well. I guess canceling my detect magic and
Okay.
I'll see if I can read the words as well.
I'll roughly describe the shape and say if you see anything like it around the room somewhere, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's some kind of something. I don't know.
Okay, so everyone, quickly, languages that you can read. I don't have them all memorized.
I know Celestial. That's the only language that Jagar doesn't speak.
Okay.
I think the one I speak that you guys don't is Sylvan.
Yes,
Okay.
thieves' camp for me.
Okay. None of you know that the words exactly. However, the celestial that
Rose
you know,
speaks Druidic.
the celestial that you know is similar in makeup to this. You think that maybe you might be able to work out this language yourself. If you were to make a DC 15 intelligence history check, I would allow you to decipher the similar language to your celestial knowledge. DC
Nice.
15, all right.
Exactly
man.
15.
So, Gorik, you spend some time contemplating this glowing passage amongst the book. And it takes you a few minutes and probably some trial and error, but eventually you're pretty sure it reads something along the lines of, "Those who seek knowledge and guard it from its misuse, present your devotion and ready your mind."
Okay.
If it's readying my mind, not my arm, that's convenient. I'm a bit worse for wear. Shouldn't be getting into too many more fights today.
I mean, Collector is a madman, so I don't think his mind's set, but we do have this that the Collector gave me. I'm gonna try using the key in the slot, and I'm waiting for my mind to be fucked.
Alrighty. As you place the key in the seal, a mechanical rumbling can be heard from below you. The floor around you begins to collapse on itself, and a large domed cylinder rises from the floor. As it reaches the surface around you, a door opens, revealing an empty room inside, about the size of of a small room, just big enough to fit 5 to 10 people in if you squeezed. And inside the empty room is a small button.
Cool. I'm gonna swim down and press a button. Wait, get in here. I don't want to press the button and everybody get like, I get separated and then the hellhound comes out and then mauls my ass.
Yeah, I'll swim in.
I'm a
So I
little
hope
worried.
there's a game involved. I was always quite good at dragon chess.
All right. So.
Chandler will reluctantly step in.
All right. The 5 of you enter the small room, and Hugh Seafeather, you press the button. The door closes, and the mechanical rumbling commences. You feel yourselves being drawn down below the sea level around you, and into a floor below. Alrighty. You make your way a few minutes down below. The shaking stops. And as you do so, the door slides open. The water inside of the room you were just in begins to drain out in a rush. As you are now below ground in the university kind of basement or some floors below. The door slides open and it reveals a small room down here with a wooden writing desk and a small dead potted plant to one side of it.
I still have internet.
You
Sorry,
still
that
have
was
internet. Okay.
Yeah. We lost Wi-Fi to the Amazon Fire Stick, which is glitchy. It's notoriously glitchy.
On the far side of the wall, there are 5 symbols etched on the wall, and 4 bowls attached to 4 kind of pillars alongside of them.
Before we move any further, should we take a quick minute to catch our breath? This is the first time we've been out of the water in a while.
Yeah, is it warmer in here? Cold? What are we talking here?
Well, you are still wet, so I imagine you're still cold, but you aren't in the freezing cold water at the moment. That has rushed away from you. So maybe it's a net gain. It's better than being wet but in the air than in freezing cold water, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Just start wringing my clothes out.
Jagar like, sits down and says, just a few minutes to catch my breath. That shark was not a good encounter for me.
All right. Well,
hopefully nothing started until we actually interact with something in this room. I assume it's some sort of test.
Well, don't leave the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it now. Chandler's like, but I just want to step out the door, and then you see the tile right next to the elevator just sinks into the floor. Fucking helicopter blades and fucking
The elevator just starts slowly filling up with spikes.
All right, can we take a short rest in the?
Yeah, that's the goal here, so I can expend my last couple hit dice.
Sure, yes. You take a few moments, about 10 minutes,
All right.
once you realize that you're in a dry room, to warm yourselves up, dry yourselves off, eat some small rations, tend to some wounds. You can take a short rest, heal up some hit dice if need be.
Awesome. All right, so I get 16 HP back.
All right.
Okay, you feeling better? Your Vaseline?
Yes, as good as it's going to get.
I was gonna say, is anyone badly hurt? I could use my last 2nd level spell slot to cast Prayer of Healing, but
I'm at 26 out of 47, so it's not great, but I shouldn't go down instantly.
you're down 20. Is anybody else down, or is it just you at this point?
I think it's just me, because I tanked everything that one fight.
I'm at full.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I'll hang on to it then.
All right.
Yeah, let's get started.
I like lean out. I'm like, oh, this poor pot plant.
You look at the potted plant, and it is indeed a nice potted plant. The pot is made out of clay. The dirt inside of it long since dried to the point of being almost like sand-like, with a dead and decaying, what would have been some kind of small tree at one point, rotting away inside of it.
Rose casts Druidcraft on the tree to revitalize it.
All right, Rose revitalizes the potted plant, dooming it to die once again in so many months or days, however long it takes for those things to die.
How tall is it?
Once revived, it is about 18 inches tall.
Okay, she definitely picks it up and is now carrying this small potted plant around. She's like, we should save this plant. I don't think it's fair for it to die down here.
Alrighty. As you guys
I thought we
are,
weren't going to have Faye for this session.
as you guys are investigating the potted plant, you guys are right next to the desk, and you see that the desk contains a book with that same kind of tipped scale on the cover of it. A small candle holder, and a frayed piece of rope with a quartz attached to it, and an empty ink bottle.
Well, lucky I picked
what
up
attached to it?
A piece of rope with quartz.
Okay.
I take out my eyepiece.
Is
when I
there-
look over it.
Is there any religious symbolism to the scales?
Go ahead and make me a religion check.
Unlikely, but I'll roll it.
Yeah. $21. With
Apparently, I did make it.
You are pretty certain that there is no religious correspondence that you can think of between the scales and a god of your knowledge. You are fairly certain that the scales are tied to the study of alchemy, which you have, been thinking about since being told of the Philosopher's Stone down here.
All right, let's have a look at this book. And I flick down the eyepiece.
Wait. So I have history here. Can I use that history skill to try and see if I have any knowledge about is alchemy like an ancient practice, something that's kind of fallen out of favor in the modern world? Okay, so would there be a chance to know the practices of alchemists? How secretive were they? Did they trap their works? Would that be the kind of thing that'd be pretty
Sure.
bad?
Go ahead and give me a history check. Yeah.
All right.
13. You are unfamiliar with how secretive they are and how much they want to trap their work. There are tales of alchemist traps, though you're uncertain how exaggerated they may or may not be.
Okay.
You think that it is definitely likely that you would come across traps made of alchemy, but for what purpose they served, you're not sure.
Okay. I'll warn Hugh to be careful looking through that book then.
Oh, in that case, I start investigating the chair to make sure it's not a pressure plate with the alchemist fire underneath, or the table's lined with something that's gonna pop.
Actually, that's a good point. Well, Hugh takes up the book. I'm gonna start looking around this desk and make sure that there's no
I was gonna do that.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. You're a rogue, so you get the fancy.
Go ahead and give me a perception check while you look around the desk here, trying to find some kind of trap or obscure, out-of-place element.
Could I try for investigating the desk and?
No.
Perception?
Perception is spotting things, right? Seeing if they're there. Investigation is taking what you know is there and putting them together, right?
Okay. Well, 20.
But you give it a good once over, and besides the items that I've said, you don't find anything else or anything out of place or anything that makes you think of a trap.
All right, let's look at this book.
You open the book. A steel bookmarker falls out of it on page 237 of the book. What you see inside are in-depth scientific markings and studies of an arcane nature. They're talking about all kinds of weights and measurements and volumes, and it is all written in a slanted hand, about I don't know, thousands of years old as far as you can tell. Have faded, but still there.
And can we read it? You said what was the language on it?
It is written in Common.
Does it say 16? Or is it no 43 kilograms of carbon, 16 kilograms of hydrogen?
Why don't you give me an intelligence
Oh,
investigation check to understand the workings of the book?
I was making a Full Metal Alchemist joke, but I crit foul.
You do not. The science in the book or the nature of the descriptions are beyond your comprehension.
Damn. It was like the what is it? The fundamentals of human, and it's all the properties, potassium and everything. What's in a human body? All right. Well, I don't know what it says, but
Can I take a look at the metal bookmark?
It is a metal bookmark.
Okay, there's nothing like engraved on it or anything. It's just like a little piece of metal. Okay. And you said it was on page 237.
Yep.
Can I open the book to page 237?
It's already open.
Okay.
It is open on page 237.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he was reading it from the start or.
Mhm.
I mean that's the most logical point. But no, it's already open.
Okay.
You're better off reading. Yeah. What do you gather from?
You
this
want me to
book?
try investigate?
All right, give me an intelligence investigation check to understand the science of this book.
That's not what I want. You know, so, screw it. We'll do it. D20 plus.
Give me that one. Give me that
Gorik
one.
is in the corner chatting with Rose about this plant, marveling at the fact that it isn't completely dead after however many centuries it's been down here. Like, he's kind of curious if maybe the Philosopher's Stone is underneath the tree, and that's why the tree is still alive. Like,
All right, so Janlar, after some investigation, you notice that this book contains several basic alchemical principles. The bookmark page describes one such principle known as the Archimedes principle.
You're muted.
Can you hear me? Hello?
No, you're good.
Yeah, I would just relay that to the party then.
Okay, the Archimedes principle. You said that there were like symbols on the wall and pillars, Greg?
There are, yes. There are pillars along the far wall. There are 5 symbols above each of them. And there's 4 bowls attached. Or, I'm sorry. No, yeah, 5. There are 5 bowls attached to the pillars underneath these symbols.
Like each pillar has 5 bowls, or
Each pillar has a bowl. There are 5 pillars. There are 5
Okay.
symbols. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
And
I'm
5
sorry. My description.
So a symbol, one symbol above every pillar, one bowl to every pillar.
Yes.
Okay.
This seems eerily familiar.
What do the symbols? Do they look like any sort of writing form that I would recognize between Common and Dwarven?
No, it doesn't look like written language. It looks more just like a single symbol, just like as if it were to represent something of its own.
Okay, are they relatively pictographic? Like I could pick it out, or do they look more like a?
They do
an
seem
acquired
relatively pictographic, yes.
Okay.
I was just gonna say-
What kind of runes am I looking at then?
Go ahead and give me an investigation check here.
Okay.
Why don't we just reference them with the book?
Do I have investigation? Probably not. No, I don't. All right. Hope you're ready for this +0.
You can't quite make out these symbols. They seem strange and unusual to you.
Janlar,
Professor Janlar, what do you make of these symbols?
You muted.
Oh, can you not hear me?
I think
there you
you're
go.
not bringing your mic all the way down.
No, I'll just bring it way closer. Try that.
Okay.
I would go over and try to read the symbols as well.
All right, Janlar, with the help of the book on the table, you recognize these as the 5 elements of alchemy. They are earth, air, fire, water, and ether.
Okay, get some soil from the plant. Get some seawater.
There's some water. Yeah, I'm gonna start heading over and filling up. Like, do I have any containers on me? Because I left my pack in that cave with the princess. I don't.
The bowls themselves are not latched to the pillars. You can pick them up. If
Oh,
need
cool.
be.
Yeah, I'm gonna start collecting some of the water that rushed out of the elevator with us into one of the bowls, the one
Absolutely.
that corresponded to water.
Yes. So you fill the bowl underneath the alchemical symbol for water with the seawater that rushed out of the elevator, for lack of a better word, that you rode in on, and place it on the pillar. As you do so, a pale blue glow begins to emanate from the symbol above the pillar.
I'm gonna pour out 1 flask of lamp oil into the fire one and set it on fire. Does that trigger it?
How do you set it on fire?
I've got flint and tinder.
Perfect. Yep.
Flint and steel. Yeah.
All right. You strike a fire in the bowl underneath the pillar with this alchemical symbol of fire. A soft orange glow begins to light from the alchemical symbol of fire as you do this.
Awesome. Handful of dirt from the pot plant.
Okay. Rose gives you some of her potted plant soil. As you fill the bowl there, a soft brown glow arises from the alchemical symbol of earth.
I take a deep breath and blow into the bowl for air.
Nothing happens.
Okay.
Does anyone have Emily's wings still?
I believe you were the one that was carrying them around as Villith. And I don't think anyone picked them up when Villith died.
I have not had them on a character sheet
I feel like
ever.
we took them. They were on our cart. I think.
Yeah, I think they were
Yeah.
on the cart with Gormak's horns.
What
So
kind
they
of
probably
representation
didn't make
for
it
us?
underwater with us. I do have, because I have a priest's pack. Oh no, do I not? Is it not the priest's pack? Hang on, I think I have the wrong equipment thing in my head.
Did you want a feather?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take out some of my bolts then, because I assume that there are feathers as
that's
flights
true.
on my bolts. And I'll try picking a few. I guess I'll destroy one of the bolts to take the feathers off and try depositing them into the air bowl.
Okay.
I don't know if
you
that'll do
place some
anything.
feathers into the bowl underneath the alchemical symbol of air. Nothing happens.
Okay.
Actually, you place something incorrect into the bowl. Hold on.
Oh, that's great.
Nothing happens.
Oh, that's good. All right, I'll dump the feathers out then and discard
It seems
discard
the
the
DM
ruined
has
bolt.
given you a clue unintentionally.
Can I start looking through the book for the symbols of air and see if I can discern anything from the book?
Sure. As you read through the book, you know that the alchemical symbol of air represents air. All the stuff around you that you're breathing all the time is considered to be one of the ethers that energy can flow through.
Okay. What
Is there any
represents?
talk of like trapping the air or
None.
No.
Hmm.
And what was the 5th symbol?
Aether.
Aether.
Does Rose know the gust cantrip?
Y'all, we don't need to fill the bowl. There's air everywhere. The bowl
Is it
has
glowing?
air
Was
in
that
it.
is that symbol already glowing?
No.
Well, then just skip over it. All right. What's ether?
All right. The air symbol begins glowing.
Thank you. Ether. What's ether?
The air bowl is actually full of water. We have to pour the water out to fill it with air.
Now you're thinking.
Yeah.
Well, technically, there's air and what? I'm sorry. Just going to ether.
Ether, the book will tell you, is the alchemical knowledge of the human spirit. It is the ether is the energy of the human soul.
Do you
All
think blood would satisfy it?
I was about to say I prick my finger with Esteban, and then I just drip my blood into it.
All right. As you drip your blood into the bowl, the alchemical symbol of Aether alights, and then the non-glowing air symbol begins to alight as well at the fulfillment of the other 4. As the hallway, or the wall before you, begins to rumble mechanically again and split apart, revealing a hallway leading further into the basement floor that you are in.
Okay.
As you make your way down it, the hallway leads out to a large room. Inside this larger room, there's a 100-foot wide pit in the very center of it. And an opening is seen just across the other side of it. You know right away the pit is far too wide to jump across. And as you peer down it, it appears almost bottomless. However, on your immediate side of the room, there are 7 pedestals with glass containers on top of them, and they have 7 different materials. You see a large balance scale and a tub of water just opposite them.
Okay, let's tip the scales.
So the scales are empty right now?
The scales are empty. And
Okay.
Are they
perfectly
level right
balanced.
now?
They are level.
Match the symbol.
I'm sorry?
So aren't the scales in the symbol offset
Yes.
with knowledge? I'm gonna see if I can match.
You
The
press down on the scales with your hand, causing them to go unlevel, matching the degree of unsettledness that you saw on the seal outside. Nothing happens.
Perhaps we have to place every material on the scales and achieve the correct balance.
I feel like that's the great. game plan.
How wide is the bottomless pit? Not how far across, but like how from
The width of the room. From edge of the wall to edge of the wall.
which is
About 100 feet, you said?
We'll call it 100. It's a 100 feet square pit.
So it's a really big room.
Really big.
All right. Gorik's gonna take a handful of the sand out of Faye's potted plant. How much, like,
Plants run out
how-
of dirt.
yeah? How much dirt are we burning through in this poor plant?
I don't think you took very much out of it when you
Okay.
put it in the bowl.
Okay. And I'm gonna Indiana Jones just kind of cast it in as wide an arc as I can across the
Right.
empty pit to see if there's an invisible bridge.
No. You cast the dust across the chasm, and it falls on nothing, down into the darkness below.
Okay, too much to hope there was an invisible bridge. Looks like we have to do something with the scales. Or fly. Can anyone fly? Genlar, fly? Fly spell?
I imagine when he gets halfway, it's just going to dispel his spell and he's going to fall to his death. So let's not fly.
What are the materials that I see in these jars on the pedestal that you were talking about?
All right. You open up the canisters. You notice that of the 7 canisters, all of them are like a solid metal, except for one, which is a kind of liquidy silver inside of it, and that one is sealed, and it seems to be almost frozen in place. It cannot be removed. The other metals, go ahead and give me a DC 15 nature check, nature intelligence, to identify all of these metals.
All right.
I'm
No.
laughing really hard at the idea of Gorik being like, it is the faith. You just have to walk out, and just taking a step off because he's a cleric and just immediately plummeting to his death. Like, that's how this character dies. Like,
So with a 10, you don't recognize the other 5, but the canisters containing hunks of gold and silver are still obvious to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Gorik sees the hunks of silver and like immediately like goes to cover them up and then remembers Tom isn't here to just set them on fire for being heretical.
Oh, I never did anything to gold.
No, that's the silver that was.
Do we have the book with us still?
You do
Can
have
we
the
pull-
books with you.
Bring
yes.
it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we could pull it off the table or if it was just...
Yeah. You can carry the book of alchemy around with you, all you desire.
Okay. If I look through it, do I see these 7 symbols? I'm assuming there are symbols next to the medals, right?
There are no symbols next to the medals. The medals are encased in this glass case.
Okay.
Find the page with gold on it.
Yeah, I guess I'll start looking through the book for gold. Assuming
Okay.
that's probably pretty common in an alchemist book.
There are pages and pages and pages and pages of information on gold. I guess what you're trying to tell me is you want to solve the puzzle, Alex. Give me a DC 20 intelligence investigation check. Actually, this isn't an investigation check. This is an alchemist tool check. You are not proficient with alchemist tools, I would assume. So you're just giving me a DC 20 intelligence check.
Okay.
Come on, crit.
All right. You begin searching through this book, trying to find the solution to this puzzle, and you just get weighed down in the vast amount of scientific scrawling on about gold and its density and its volume and its weight and its ability to interact with different things and when and how and why.
Wish I.
So I'm gonna take one of these canisters over. I just want to place something on the scale. Like I want to try and like weigh them out with my hands. Like I'll take the gold and the silver, right?
Okay.
Do they feel like they weigh the same, or are they like a little bit different?
Well, you do have a scale. Would you like to place them on
I'm
the
trying to
scale?
weigh them by hand because I want to see if the scales operate like we would expect them to, or if this is some sort of weird.
Okay. How do you weigh something by hand?
Well, I mean, if it's a clear difference, you can spot it, right?
Yeah. No. Okay. So you hold the hunks of gold and silver in your hand, and they do not feel disparately weighted to you. No.
Okay. I'm gonna try placing them on the scales and see what happens for starters.
When you place them on the scales, you find that they are the same weight.
Okay.
They balance.
I'm gonna take the other metals, except for the liquid one that you said. What was the one about the liquid? Like the canister was stuck in
fused.
place,
The glass canister cannot be removed, and it is
Okay.
fused to that pedestal.
Okay. I'll take the other canisters. I'm gonna test and see if all of these metals are of equal mass.
They are all equal in mass.
Okay, but they're different sized, I assume, because of densities and all that.
Correct.
Okay. So,
Put them on the scale until the scale matches the image.
which would mostly just be putting a different number of metals on each side of the scale.
So put gold on one side because it's dense as fuck, and then put a bunch.
They're
of
all
the
equal mass.
They're different sizes, aren't they? But they all weigh different amounts.
No, they all weigh the same, but they're different sizes because they're different densities.
Okay, so then we'll want to.
So I could put a different number of metals on the other side because I have 6, I think. So I could put like 4 and 2, and that would tip the scales in one direction. But I don't know if that's. I feel like we haven't thought this through, but I'll try it. I'll try and put like 4 of the metals on the side that we want to be weighed down, and then 2 on the other, and see what that.
And it is exactly 1/3 of the, or I guess 2/3, excuse me, of the mass of the weighted side, and the scales tip, showing that.
Are they roughly like the symbol on the book?
Sure, you can get it to look like the book.
Yeah, and then nothing happens, even though we've.
No.
Okay. Yeah, not. Everything's so what can we do with this tub of water?
You begin looking at the tub of water, and you see that it is filled to about the 3/4 mark with water, and there are little markings on the side of it, seemingly indicating it is used for some type of measurement.
It's a Pyrex.
Well, I'm not quite sure what our goal is here. Does anyone have any thoughts?
Okay, so I don't know what you can make with water and a bunch of metals other than chlorine if there is copper there to put electric current through. But
Oh, copper.
salt.
You're familiar with copper as well as gold and silver because that's
Oh,
made,
so
your
that was one of
coins
them.
are made of that. So you,
Okay.
I
you
could
also
make an acid
recognize
flask
copper.
with a light spark. We could make acid, but other than that, I have no idea. No.
Professor Janlar, any thoughts?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure.
You and your puzzles. God damn it, Greg.
This is like the first puzzle we've had in ages.
I know, and then we just suddenly can't figure it out. God damn it. There's nothing magical about the water or the components.
No, you take your eyeglass down to look at them, and they all appear to be mundane in nature.
He's gonna tell us how this works later on, and we're gonna be like, for fuck's sake, it was simple.
That's every D&D puzzle. Either the group gets it instantaneously, finds it inside of 5 minutes by random guessing, or they spend like an hour and a half banging their faces against a wall before the GM's like, I'll just tell you what. I'll just tell you. Let's just move on.
Let's blow in the bowl of air.
Hey, I think we did it in 5 minutes. Random.
Alright. So my thoughts is all I can think is buoyancy, where you put something into a body of water and the water level rises. So just
Well,
chuck all the metals into the fucking water tub and watch it
But-
fill up.
Well, it
Why
just
are
looks
we-
like they're trying to like.
To what end?
I don't know. It's a puzzle. I'm just taking pot shots here.
If I put one of the metals in the water, I'm assuming it rises a certain amount. The water rises a certain amount. And it rises to one of the marking levels.
It sure does.
If I put a different one in, does it rise to the same level, or does it rise?
Which one do you put in the first time?
Copper.
Copper rises to the 3rd mark.
Oh, do we need to rearrange them on the pedestals?
I'm not sure, but I'll put in the silver.
Silver rises to the 1st mark.
Okay.
I'm gonna start writing these down.
That's,
First, third.
Copper. And as he does this, I'll replace them in their canisters.
yeah,
Mhm.
and then I'll just keep going through. Gold, obviously, we know. We said.
Gold rises to the 7th mark. And
Seven.
you have
That's a
3
problem.
unknown elements here.
Was the mercury in the 7th? I assume it's mercury. I might be wrong there, but I assume it was mercury. Was that on the 7th pedestal?
No, it was
Okay.
on a pedestal 1 away from the end.
Okay.
So either, I guess, the 2nd or 6th, depending on your ordering.
Well, you said silver. No. Copper went to the second one.
Copper
Third.
went to the 3rd,
And then
Gold went to the
7th.
seventh, and silver went to the first.
Correct?
Okay. I thought we knew which one was floating at the second mark already, but
I'll do the same with the other 3 metals.
can we take, like, if we have a container, can we take the mercury out, or is it solid?
The mercury you cannot take out. It seems to be almost liquid inside the container, and it is sealed and it is
okay.
it is sealed. You cannot take the top off like you can the others, and it is
Okay.
bound to the pillar itself.
It's inaccessible.
It is.
So
It
you
is.
can't drink it.
Yeah, it is. The mercury is without shattering the glass container and stealing the mercury. It is inaccessible.
Okay.
The other 3 elements you have yet to identify, but you can put them in there.
I'm
The-
assuming I'm assuming one of them is not platinum. Right?
Taking notes, you can. Taking notes, one of them rises to the 4th, the 5th,
Yep.
and the 6th line.
So
of
there's
the
no
tug.
second?
There is no second.
Interesting. So Mercury is... Oh, unless it's going in the other direction, because Mercury... Okay. So I'm going to reverse things around here. I assume Mercury was in the 6th position, but if we flip it around and put it in the 2nd position, that could work. I'm going to start putting things in the order. So that means I have to flip these around. So silver before Mercury, gold on the far end away from Mercury,
Silver,
copper in
Mercury,
the position after Mercury, and then in the order of the other ones that we measured. I don't know the names, so I couldn't really record them.
Right. You place the iron, tin, and lead in the correct positions. And as you do so, the positions are all aligned in the correct order. And as soon as the last one is placed, you hear a rumbling mechanical sound. And rising up from the bottom of this pit is a bridge across to the other side. And you can cross it to the exit far to the edge of this area.
Thank fuck I love science.
You walk through the exit and find a hallway, once again, that ends in a square room with a silver box placed on a pedestal and a large iron statue watching over it.
Silver box on a pedestal, large iron statue watching over.
At least it's not a big gold dwarf statue.
I'm sizing this statue up.
This statue looks to be about the same size as that large dwarven statue you saw before. However, unlike that one, it is not a dwarf. It is a large bearded man. And he is kind of standing with what appears to be a carved out of the same material statue. Like a quarterstaff, maybe, or like a shepherd's crook without the actual bend to it, as he looks out over the box on the pedestal in front of him.
Stay here. I'm gonna Indiana Jones this box, and then when it moves, just run. Just leave me behind. I got this.
All right, Hugh, you make your way forward into the room, tending to take the box from the iron pedestal.
I want to look at it with the eyepiece and see if I can open the box. Because if I don't have to take the box,
as you make your first step into the room, the eyes of the large statue open and spring to a kind of fiery life. A grumbling rumble of a voice emanates from it. It says, I knew you'd come. I am the last of the 3 guardians tasked to guard this sacred relic. I was chosen because I was the bravest and most worthy. The honor was mine until such time when you would come to reclaim the relic. Before you can proceed, you must prove your worth. And with that, the statue kind of shakes itself free of the ground and kind of gives a stretching motion as if breaking down like long inert muscles.
I'm gonna move back away.
As it's starting to stretch, like before it's gotten fully up, I say, prove ourselves how.
The statue kind of turns its face to the hallway, seeing you standing there. And he looks at you for a moment, unblinkingly with the kind of fire in its eyes, and it then speaks and asks, is knowledge inherently good or evil?
Knowledge is power of the wise.
Interesting. How so?
Just one should know when to fight and when not to. And I don't feel like fighting you, big fella.
Jagger will step into the room and say, knowledge is neither. What you do with knowledge defines its morality.
wise answer. Tell me then, does good and evil exist? If so, what defines these things?
That's laws, not science. Something could be evil to one person and not evil to another. Alignment, if you would.
So you would argue that they do not exist?
Yes, it's true. They do not
Morality exists in the sense of human perspective.
I see. Then tell me, is there not such a thing as a universal truth? Or is everything relative?
relative in the way of science.
I don't know. That's Jagger's immediate answer. That he says, I don't know. That's beyond my purview of knowledge.
Huh? Do you not have an answer for me?
No.
We have a cleric. Perhaps he has more words to speak on that subject.
Tenets of religion and science are often at odds. My answers may not be the answers this guardian seeks.
I'll answer, because I have no soul. It's fine.
Is your character a redhead?
No, but that would be amazing. What was his question?
Is there a
such
universal
thing as
truth?
as a universal truth.
Or is everything relative?
Everything is relative. There is no universal truth. That's my answer, Greg. Lock it in, Eddie.
The Guardian nods his head and says, "It seems over the years, knowledge has changed humanity, but you have answered my questions 3, and I do not think that you would abuse this rank. So with that, my charge is done. Keep it safe, keep it hidden, use it for good, never for evil. There are some in this world who will abuse its power, create untold suffering. Let them never gaze their eyes upon it, for a mere sight is not enough to fill their heads with malicious intentions." He pauses for a long moment, then kind of gives a lukewarm smile to the 5 of you. He says, "Thank you once more, my friends. I go now to my long-awaited rest." And as the golem kind of kneels to the ground and shuts his eyes, a faint mechanical rumbling kind of ceases, and his now lifeless form remains kneeled upon the ground next to this pedestal.
I'm gonna walk up to him, put my hand on his leg, and like, "Rest now, sweet prince. It's all gonna be okay."
It
And then I'm
was
gonna open
alarmingly easy to convince this guardian we should have this thing.
I totally am okay with that. Stop playing with fire. Let's open the box. I don't want to die. He was big.
All right. You pick up the silver box. It is a beautifully crafted box, as if the pieces of it had grown around whatever lay inside, rather than was opened, or rather than was crafted as separate pieces. The silver sparkles and shines as if it was brand new. At the kind of front of this box, there is a small scale. That as you test with your thumb, kind of twists. As you line it up exactly as you saw from the seal outside, you hear a faint click. And with that, the box more unwinds than it does spring open. And inside, you see a small stone, about as large as would fit in your palm, that glows hotly and faintly ruddy red, as if the same color of a rusty blood.
I totally touch it.
You touch it, and you are surprised that it is warm. The stone itself is warm to the touch, but otherwise is unremarkable.
Okay. I was like, turn to the group. See? We got it. All right, let's go save a princess and get the fuck out of here.
Tell me, Gorik, you knew stories of this Philosopher's Stone, correct? The kinds of powers it can wield?
Vague rumors and legends, yes, but no true stories. Finding this object would be like finding,
Caliber sword.
Excalibur, or the Holy Grail, or
We found Messiah, okay?
other objects which don't exist in the D&D universe.
Perhaps we should put it to its use and then hide it away again.
I think that would be most wise.
That means we'll have to find somebody who could use it. Unless... Does anyone here know how? We do have a few magically inclined in our group.
There may be some within my order who would be able to unlock its power.
For sure, with time, some of the power could be unlocked. The collector said that he could do it for us. But...
Gorik looks visibly uncomfortable at the idea of Janlar trying to wield the Stone of Ultimate Power. his track record with powerful magical artifacts is not stellar. He doesn't say anything, but his hair goes a little bit grayer.
I'll hold on to it. As the Tomb Raider, and I put it in the box again. Does it close back up?
Yes, with a little bit of prompting, you manage to turn the scales, and the box kind of grows back around itself, rattling back up.
Right?
Huh?
It's only a little box.
The box itself you probably could carry in two hands, about like this. The stone itself is large, like a baseball, like it would fit in the palm of your hand.
I mean no offense, Hugh, but I believe I'd feel most comfortable if Father Gorik were the one to carry it.
Okay.
I can carry it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm worried sometimes because you're very over-encumbered all the time.
Oh, no,
I will take something off of Gorik's person if he needs.
All right. Let's get the fuck out of here.
I just need lighter armor and I'll be fine.
So is our plan then to just go back up to the surface?
We have a princess to save, don't we?
She's not in this castle, champ.
I came down here to complete our mission.
Yeah, but we got a
Avenged.
side quest, all right?
I don't know anything about the princess.
Oh, we went to a cave earlier and found a chained up princess who apparently has a twin sister who's being held prisoner in this city.
And if I'm gonna get one chained up sea floozy, I want a twin, because double the fun.
This is why I wanted Gorik to carry the stone.
I look at Janlar and I go,
I'm not a young man anymore. Princess saving is a young man's game.
And I'm just like...
I agree.
I am a young man, and I offered to look into it for her.
Are we going to risk our lives and now the Philosopher's Stone back to the Triton?
It's the right thing to do.
We're going to take the stone the Triton haven't been able to get.
I don't think they know it's here.
Yeah, they don't seem savvy enough.
Could we take the elevator up and down? We could always leave the box. Well, I suppose we shouldn't do it. Look, if we...
You just promised this guardian that we wouldn't let this stone in the wrong hands. I fear that we need to take
Well, in that case, do we just bury it in the bottom of the ether and just leave it there? Because then it's wasted knowledge, and then they wouldn't be okay with that. He's just telling us, don't give it to crazy cunts that are going to open a void rift and then let out hell. We can carry it into battle.
But then if we die, it goes to the enemy.
Well, let's not die. I'm all about that.
Too late.
See? He's died. He's okay. I trust him. Let's go save a princess. I don't feel right bailing on this place.
I do.
I'm uncomfortable risking the stone, but it is the right thing to do.
Can we get the stone out of the ocean first? Come back?
It took us weeks
to get out here.
This is an incredibly powerful magical object, and we nearly died to like 8 Meryl. You're trying to say to go. If we go into the inner city, we're gonna die. You realize that, right?
Perhaps Rose could take the stone to the surface, and we could try and save the princess. I do not think any of you would disagree that she is trustworthy.
Yeah, I trust Rose.
I would agree.
She's kind of like, how exactly am I going to get back to the city?
Can't you turn into a dolphin or something?
For 24 hours.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe.
Not for that long, no way.
How did you guys... Gory
We
goes,
came on a
How
boat.
did you get
We
here?
swept our ship into a typhoon and
It
sank.
was glorious. Thank you.
I see. So your ship is no longer serviceable.
No, it's gone.
So now we have to help the princess people. So the sea elfin people that we like, not the other ones, can help us get back to town safely. So now it's a no-brainer. We have to help the princess.
Didn't the collector inform us of some teleportation circles?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like our best bet to get out of here is to find those teleportation circles.
And I have a
Probably
feeling-
is.
He
That's
told you that the teleportation circle was in...
Janlar, can't you cast Gate? I swear you cast Gate once.
Not. No, I cannot.
Janlar, I don't remember that at all.
No, I.
He said that the
don't
teleportation
remember.
circle was in the Noble District. There's a city hall in the Noble District that has the teleportation circle.
Which one is the Noble District on this map?
The Noble District, if we remember the map, is 8.
Okay, and which one are we in?
You were in the University District, which is 5, right? So you came in from 1. And
And then we circled around, went outside, and came back inside again.
correct. You came in from 1, went up to 7, fought a Merrill patrol, went left, came back around the outside to 5. The prisoner that you talked to said that the 8th district is where the prisoners are being largely kept, and the 9th is the temple district.
It's a risky plan. We might want to rest for a day before we follow through on any sort of rescue attempt. But if we can find a way to get Rose out of here, I think we could attempt to break into the University District.
I was
Or
about
the
to
Noble
suggest the same. We seem relatively safe down here. I would suggest getting to the other side of the bridge first. It is unclear how long the bridge will stay up. And from this side
Agreed.
of the chasm, we have no means of resummoning it.
Yes, let's go back to the first room.
All right. You make your way back to the first room. The bridge across the chasm seems to stay intact. None of the hidden walls shutter behind you. It seems whatever trap or test was in place has not been reset.
When we pass after everybody's across the bridge, Goric will rearrange the canisters.
As you rearrange the canisters, the bridge slides back down with a mechanical rumble to the depths below.
Okay. And then we'll remove the water and everything from the bowls in the last room. And then I'm going to leave a note on the table with the ink and the paper that I've got. Don't bother. Nothing here. And then just leave it.
All
And
right.
then signs, UC Feather.
No treasure, go back.
Hugh is here
I has
first.
treasure now.
I has treasure now.
He draws a red box with a white sideways triangle on it to resemble like a play button, and then just comments first, and that's it.
I'll put on like the backside and thieves can't. Been raided.
All right, perfect. You leave a note on the desk. You pour out all of the bowls and trigger the wall to close behind you, leaving you in the first room once again with the desk and the now living plotted plant that I guess Rose is taking with her, and the elevator back up to the university's first floor.
All right, should we rest here for the day? Might not be the most spacious rooms we've had,
Sorry,
but it should
yeah.
serve.
I was just saying the same
One
thing.
of the safer places we've discovered.
I agree.
And it's dry.
Yeah.
Okay. You rest here in this cramped room with a desk. The five of you can take some bedrolls out and get sleeping arrangements set up. Warm yourselves with as much as you can, blankets and whatnot. What do you do during your rest here? Right.
Jana tries to get the importance of us not giving this magical stone to these other people across to this party.
Genlar becomes a nag, is what you're saying?
Yes, pretty much the entire
We've
time.
already taken care of it, Professor Janlar.
Okay.
All right. So
I spent the time trying to get to know Goric better because I just
Okay.
met him, and I want to learn a little bit more about this guy. So I'm going to ask him about his history a little bit.
Okay.
I'm probably
Father
sitting-
Goric, tell me about yourself. We haven't met before.
I am known now as Goric Gravemantle. In my youth, I was a glassblower from... Shit. Greg, do you remember what we named my... my hall?
I just like how the shit was in character.
Yeah.
Not the Ember Hall, right? That's the one we went to.
No, the Amber Hall was the other one we went to. It was the something hall. Deep Hall? Was it
Deep Hall. Deep Hall.
Yeah. I was a glassblower from Deep Hall Hold.
Deep Hall.
Yeah.
Sounds like the Paul.
Good thing dwarves are so predictable in D&D.
How does a glassblower become a cleric?
The god of death denies you death.
Oh.
I told you, I believe, when Master Seafeather asked how old I was, that I was 363 at my last count. You may not be familiar with dwarven burial rituals, but the last count is the accounting of one's life after they pass. It has been canonical number of years since that. I don't actually remember how long ago. At one point on one stream I said how long ago that was. I don't remember now. I should probably write it down. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep making things up. I'm gonna say it's been 18 years since.
He's just a little senile. He says a
Yeah.
different time every time.
I see. Are you glad for this? Did you want to die?
I had lived a long and full life. I had children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. I was proud of my craft. But when the god of death asks you something, you do not deny him. I do not know what my purpose is. Perhaps one day I will fulfill it, and then I will be allowed to pass on. For now, I go where the god sends me, and there is a specter of death over this group. I seek to break its hold.
I see.
What of you, Jagger?
Well, I'm not 300 years old or anything storied like that. I'm only 26.
You're a seeker, though, is that correct?
Yes, for quite some time.
That's impressive, given the track record for most seekers I've met. They seem
My,
to be a rather short-lived bunch.
I was born into the nobility of the House Harmont. My house fell into ruin some years back. Joining with the Seekers seemed like a way to salvage what I could of our name.
I see.
It is a dangerous life, but I do not fear death.
That is good. All will die eventually.
Agreed.
To fear it is to fight against the inevitable.
Hmm.
Death is not evil. Many believe it to be, but it is natural and necessary.
Some would say it's lighter than a feather.
Some might.
I knew I was gonna get Greg with that one.
Yeah.
They're probably having this conversation. I'm sitting right next to Gorik, looking at the Philosopher's Stone, because I'm obviously not taking it from him. I'm just looking at it.
Janlar is like looking over your shoulder at the Philosopher's Stone.
And I'm like, this is way too deep for looking at a stone.
I think Rose is probably like playing with the tree's branches like they're a baby's arms and like humming to it. Like, she's humming some German lullaby to the
All right.
Which is just a regular lullaby, but in German.
yeah.
And so as the tree is played with and histories are swapped and stones are obsessed over, eventually sleep carries you into the next day. You sleep for as long as you need to, although it's hard to tell time underneath the ocean in a room beneath a basement with no clocks. But eventually you awake, feeling refreshed and having taken your long rest and being ready to go about your days.
Winning!
All right. First order of business is to figure out how to get Rose to the surface.
I mean, I look at her, she's wood. She can
But-
float if all else fails.
We need something more concrete. We can't risk her being intercepted on the way back.
Concrete does not float in water.
Yeah.
But it's a metaphor.
On the way back, we're gonna have to go into the Noble District to get back.
There have to be other ways. Going into the Noble District is risky. It could be a means back for us, using the teleportation circle, but I think it's a dangerous proposition to use it for Rose.
What other options do we have?
Rose, how long can you turn into a sea animal for?
I think it's an hour
I
per
think it's
wild
a-
shape use.
Yeah, it's like on the day she's got like 2 hours or maybe 3
Yeah.
hours worth.
Okay.
Unless
We're in the
she's
middle of the ocean.
conceptually-
Right?
Yeah. We're in the middle of bumfuck middle of the ocean.
I think
No
we might
way.
just have to take the stone with us then. Is there any other way back, really? Even if we could float to the surface,
If you're
we're
really...
in the middle of the ocean. That's a long swim.
Our only real option is to go to the teleportation circle. I just feel like we might need to go there before attempting.
She can
we could
stay in a
acquire-
beast form for 6 hours.
Which probably still isn't enough.
Perhaps we could acquire one of those seahorses those Tritons rode. Well, perhaps we could acquire 5 of those seahorses the Tritons rode.
Shotgun the shark! That guy was riding a shark. I'm totally riding a shark.
It's still a long way to go, and this water isn't exactly restful. I don't know if we could make it all the way to the shore.
Speaking of water, do we need to re-up the water breathing spell?
No. Necklace.
Yeah, we have the necklaces. Rose has to do it, but I
Rose is
assume she's
water
got that
breathing.
going in the background.
Yeah, she'll water breathe herself as needed.
I think our best bet is to use the teleportation circles.
I agree. We just have to hope for the best that they don't find the stone. Do you think it could be destroyed?
Put it in your prison wallet.
What?
He said
Oh,
put it
wait,
in your
oh,
prison
wait.
wallet.
Yeah, put it in your prison wallet. They'll never find it there.
I'm
Do we have
sure a philosopher's stone would do just fine inside of your person. I'm sure that's not a problem at all.
Father Gork, could the stone be destroyed?
I do not know much of alchemy, but I imagine that there would be a way to break it down into its component pieces.
Let's not put
Anything
magic
available
in.
to us?
I doubt.
It could be a last resort option.
Is there's not an alchemical lab here, right? It's just the book.
No, not underneath this universe, not in this passage. There's not a lab here other than the small instruments used to assist with the test.
Mm-hmm.
I don't foresee us being in a position that if we're about to lose the stone, we're gonna have the time to destroy it. I assume it'd be harder than a simple shatter spell. Shatter spell.
Very likely.
And if we're about to lose it, it's probably a TPK, which means the game's over anyway.
But we will not be losing this stone. Not to the mirror.
Let's go.
That's why I think we should go straight to the teleportation circles.
And I have a feeling that's
Princess.
exactly where the things we're looking for is.
I think our best bet of getting to that circle, Janlar, is to start a prison break and free as many prisoners as we can.
Do we know where this teleportation circle leads to?
No.
Anywhere here is great.
If it
That's
sends
not
us to the
necessarily
surface.
True.
Well, it was likely built before the city sank, so presumably it will send us somewhere on the surface. Probably to some other ancient ruin.
I'm comfortable in ancient ruins.
As long as it's not a city occupied by swarms of fish people looking to resurrect an ancient god, I think we'll be okay.
So your plan would be to start a riot or a prison escape.
I think we'll need
riot.
the distraction. The district is large. We're going to have a lot to look through if we want to find this circle. We need some way of traveling through relatively unhindered.
Didn't someone say that it was at City Hall?
Yes,
I'm pretty
the collector
sure the
told
collector
you
said
that there
the
was the fastest way to Rayquan was through the teleportation circle in City Hall. However, the coordinates to that he has plumb forgotten.
Mm-hmm. We don't know where City Hall is, and even if we find it, do we know how to use this circle?
No.
Between Professor Janla and the lovely Rose, I'm sure we can figure it out.
Teleportation is a powerful magic.
Presumably the circle was to make it more accessible.
I have seen Janlar cast powerful magic before, but I believe this spell is beyond his capabilities.
I was under the assumption that the teleportation circle was to make it more accessible. Something that more than just powerful spellcasters could use.
It depends on the game master. Typically, it's simply an anchor point that the powerful spellcaster can use.
Well, let's
is.
debate this when we find it.
Yeah.
And let's not find it
that
at a...
far, we probably don't have a way out anymore.
Exactly. And we're probably going to be stuck in this loop of a campaign conversation for the rest of time.
We have a Philosopher's Stone. We're effectively eternal.
Only if we know how to use it.
Okay. What are we doing?
It's a good question. What are you guys doing? I'm hearing a lot of talking and not a lot of acting.
Taking our first break while we decide.
All right, if you guys need a break, I'm okay with that. We're about at the spot. So we will take our first break right here. Let our team have a little powwow, try to figure out what they're going to do. And we'll come back on the other side and see what awaits them. We'll catch you guys in about 5 minutes. See y'all then.